Okay, how's it going, everybody? So today we're going to be talking about something that's that people get excited about all the time because they're constantly asking me about charging the car, right? So now you guys know I charge at home. If you've been watching any of my videos, I typically have a 240 outlet at home that I run myself, but we were in a situation where we didn't have it. So how do we actually charge there? And then also supercharge use, how much it costs, that kind of thing. And then what do you do if there's no supercharger? Because honestly, there's charging, secondary charging networks all across the country now, and then with new initiatives that are coming out, there's going to be even more. So we're going to talk about all that today, and then Tesla's new charger adapter. But sit back, relax. You guys are watching the Tall Tesla Guy. So, like I said, I have a 2022 Tesla Model Y. Typically, we charge this, or we used to charge it at home, and we would charge it with a 240 outlet that I ran myself. We're in a situation now where I can't do that, or I don't have access to that kind of setup because we're renting the place we live in now. So I'm charging with a standard 110 plug. Now, I know I did a video about charging, talking about that specifically, and take a look at that for sure. But in general, we charge with a 110. Now, it's a 20 amp fuse. Sorry, it's a little bit of a bumpy road here. 20 amp fuse, so it gives me about 6, 7, 8 maybe miles of recoup range per hour plugged in, which is more than enough. And I'll tell you right off the bat, people come into buying an electric vehicle with range anxiety, and it's just not a thing, especially with a Tesla specifically. I don't drive 300 miles a day, and if unfortunately you do for like a commute or something like that, then maybe think about it a little bit, but there's superchargers everywhere anyway. Even when I was driving and it was about an hour drive, I only used about 30% of the battery, maybe 40% in the summertime when it was hot, and I was driving to work and back. So range anxiety is not a thing once you get the car anyway. But the cool thing about Teslas is you don't have to have a special charging stall for them. You can plug it into any 110 outlet, like I was talking about before, what I do in my garage currently. But the downside is outside of your house, unless you're charging at a friend's house, your option is the supercharger network. And I only say downside because up until just recently, that was your only choice. Now, the advantage to that particular downside is that there's 30,000 superchargers across the country, probably globally. So they were realistically everywhere you wanted to be. And even in some of the remote areas where I live now, there was a supercharger. And a lot of times they're in locations at like, shopping centers, strip malls, near food sources, right off the highway, convenient to exit, stuff like that. And they designed it like that to be where you want to drive or where they think you want to drive, but also to give you the option or something to do while you're charging. A lot of people ask me, how long does it take to charge? Well, it depends on what battery you come in with. If you come in completely empty, which you wouldn't realistically, but say 5%, it's going to start super fast up to 60%, and then it throttles down because realistically, you only need enough charge to get to the next place that you're going. Not fill it up completely and then move on like a lot of people experience with traditional gasoline vehicles because you really just wanted to get as much gas as you could because you don't want to come back to the gas station. Well, in this case, you can plug in at home, you can plug in at the next supercharger, whatever you're doing. So realistically, they designed it like that so that you get enough charge quickly to move on to the next supercharger or the next place you're going. And I've never had an issue with it. But say you go roll in there with 50%, or say you get in there with the 5% we were talking about and you're going up to 60, it's going to take you about 10 minutes, maybe 15 at the most, depending on what level charger you get to. Well, outside of superchargers, that was sort of it. That was your only option other than charging at home, which is great, by the way. Until now, Tesla just came out with their CCS Level 1 adapter. Now, this adapter actually fits on the Tesla mobile charger that you have in your car that you get with it or used to get with it. Now you actually have to buy it. And then it allows you to plug into secondary charging ports. They used to be destination chargers or level 2 chargers. And what that means specifically is there's not a supercharger. It's not a Tesla supercharger. Now, before they only used to go up to about 100, 150 kilowatts, but now with this particular charger, the emphasis on the charging network that they've been putting into recently, and then the upgrades that they have, they get up to 250 kilowatts, which realistically, the fastest supercharger I've ever been to, Tesla supercharger, was 250 kilowatts. The majority of the ones that I'm finding are 150 kilowatts. So with this charging adapter, now not taking into account price or anything like that, with this charging adapter, I should be able to go to a level 2 charger, which is going to be Electrify America, plug share, anything like that. Hook it right to my charging port, or the charging port off of the device, and plug it right into my Tesla, which is a huge thing. And it sounds like it should be simple enough, because basically every other electric vehicle runs off that level 2 charging capability. Tesla didn't, because Tesla had proprietary software. They have a proprietary charging network to run off of their supercharger. Now, what Tesla's also been doing recently is licensing out their supercharging to other EVs, to other EVs, basically. So you could pull in there and somebody in a Chevy Volt could pull up and they could be charging at a supercharging stall eventually, or sporadically. I know they're doing that in certain countries. Iceland was one that they launched it in, just so they could gauge the, electricity need, gauge the power usage, that sort of stuff, gauge how often they were there. And then realistically, they're probably going to roll it out everywhere, because obviously it's more money for Tesla. But up until this point, that was your really only option. Now, if I roll into a supercharger and it's loaded up with, Chevy Volts or Honda Ioniqs, or anything, the EVQs, then I can roll on to a plug share or Electrify America, because I would have this CCS One adapter once you get it. Now, the next thing is going to be the cost. Assuming that you didn't just randomly find one on the street, the cost of the adapter is $250. Now, whether or not it's worth $250 is a little bit of a gray spot. Currently, if you buy a brand new Tesla Model 3 Y, S, or X, I believe that's next, at least the 3 and the Y, you don't get a charging cable. You don't get the charging, any of that stuff. So you have to actually buy it. Now, you go to a supercharger, you don't need the charging cable anyway. But my Tesla, everyone I've ever had, came with a charging cable. Well, now you have to buy it. You have to buy it from Tesla, and it's $200. I think you might actually get the NEMA 1450 in there as well, which is the one that you can plug into a 240 outlet, in addition to the 110 outlet, which is a $50 savings, I guess. But you're spending $200 for it, for something they used to give you for free. Now, if you had the choice between the two, and you were either going to get the CCS adapter or the charging cable, 150% every single day, every single time, I would say get the charging cable. You definitely need that. You don't want to have to charge at a supercharger. Now, this is if you have access to any other plug, right? If you live in an apartment, you don't have a garage, you may use a supercharger every day, but having this cable would allow you to charge while on the road. Say you stay in a hotel and they happen to have a plug outside that you can plug into. You're at your friend's house and he lets you charge there. You wouldn't be able to do it without the charging cable. Okay, so definitely if you had to pick between the two, get the charging cable 100%. Now, for an extra $50 or an extra $250 you find lying around the couch cushions, that CCS adapter is going to be huge. And it's going to be huge if you go on road trips a lot, right? So if your car is parked in your garage every day, it goes out to get groceries, and you drive it to the office and back, you're never realistically most likely going to need to be charging at a level 2 charger that you would need the CCS adapter for. Like I said in the beginning, there's superchargers everywhere anyway, so you'd probably use that if you needed to get a quick charge somewhere. But if you're road tripping all the time, if you're driving cross country nonstop, if you have that commute to work that's 350 miles, you might want to have an extra option to charge, which would be the level 2 charger, in which case that CCS adapter is going to be huge for you. But day to day, like I would say that if I was, money for money, if I was spending my money, I wouldn't get the CCS adapter until I start taking it on crazy road trips. Now, that may be different for you. Let me know in the comments below what you think. You may need it all the time, or you may be in a spot that doesn't have a supercharger. Realistically, in the state I live in currently, you drive about 2 hours north of here, there's no more superchargers. So it would have to be a secondary charger, in which case I would need the CCS adapter. But it's one of those things that you don't know until you know, I guess. But either way, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day, week, month so far, and you're able to get out there and enjoy a little bit of what's left of maybe, I know it's officially fall, but of summer, or at least the warmer weather. So either way, I hope you guys are staying safe out there. Thanks for watching.